And now, you're tuned in to RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's RBLR Sports.
Hey, Buccaneers fans. RBLR Bucs, where we dive into all things Tampa Bay Buccaneers related. My name is Musab. I'm one of your co-hosts tonight. Let's get this ship sailing, shall we? Well, we're going to be reflecting on that loss from this past Monday against the Kansas City Chiefs. And I don't want to say it exactly sucked, but then again, it did suck. It really did. All right. We got a lot to say here at RBLR, but I'm sure you do too. So as always, tell us how you feel in the live stream comment section, wherever you're watching this. Heck, I'll tell you this, even if you're listening to this after our live stream, we're always open to hearing what you have to say in the comments. And the show must continue, of course, and hopefully this next performance won't be as painful. But then again, we are facing a talented team coming from the West Coast, the San Francisco Niners. I got to say, we put up a good fight last game. It's a new week, so who knows what happens. Now, before we get into it, you know this show ain't nothing without the legendary podcast pair. To my right, we've got the one who's always in the fight. A true game changer, bringing fire every night. He's here to drop knowledge. Keep it sharp and tight. So buckle up, because he's taking off in flight. Mr. Zach Blaine, what's going on, man? How we doing?
That may have been my favorite one yet, brother. I'm doing fantastic, man. How are you doing tonight?
So far, so good. I'll be honest. It doesn't feel like this game was this past Monday. I don't know why it feels like it's been a while, but I don't know. Maybe it was just me, or I kind of just wanted to just leave it behind. But you already know we got this, the final puzzle piece of this iconic trio. To my left, we got the playmaker with all the might, a true field general, always ready for the fight. He's bringing heat, keeping everything in sight. So get ready, because he's turning up tonight. Mr. Carter Brantley, the mic is yours, my friend. What's the good word?
I appreciate it, Mr. Tariq. I hope y'all are having a wonderful evening. I hope everyone's doing well. Unlike the Bucs this past Monday, my goodness. Like Mr. Tariq mentioned, it was not the result that we were all hoping for sure. But there's some positives, of course, because it went to overtime. They were on the road against an undefeated team, against the defending champs. Like, there's certainly some positives to take away from this. I don't want us to sound super duper negative and super down, because as much as there's a lot to still gripe about, and a loss is a loss, there are no moral victories in the NFL, but there's still I still believe that brighter days are ahead for the Bucs. So we'll get into all that, of course, but it was a frustrating 30-24 loss in overtime. The offense wasn't amazing or anything, not lighting the world on fire, but certainly good enough to win that game. Defense also wasn't amazing or anything, but if you're letting up, 24 points in regulation to Kansas City with DeAndre Hopkins and Travis Kelce and obviously Patrick Mahomes, I think that's an okay performance. Obviously, still plenty of nits to pick, as they say, but I don't know. It was just a frustrating thing. The end of the game, we'll start, kind of work our way backwards here. Obviously, the big kind of brouhaha was them letting it go to overtime to begin with. They went with a point after attempt after scoring a game-tying touchdown with, I don't even remember, 30 seconds left. What's that?
It was like 26 seconds left.
Yeah, not a whole lot of time left. And then they went for the point after instead of going for two. So a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you disagree with this call? Of course, you can agree with it. That's perfectly fine as well. Mr. Tariq, I'll start with you, man. What were your thoughts on this, on the decision to not go for two and opt for it to go to overtime?
Absolutely horrible. I mean, there's no reason as to why we should have, done something different. I mean, listen, we talked about it in the group chat, Carter. I mean, this was just not it. And to think that you're going against the Kansas City Chiefs at home, and you finally tie it up, or you can tie it up. So you finally get that touchdown. The thing is, I mean, you already got this fired up offense. They already got a little rhythm going, and I feel like it's just worth the risk. When is Todd Bowles going to start taking risks? That's really what it is. Because you think about it, they spent like the majority of the game, 45 minutes of possession compared to ours is like 20 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Our defense was exhausted. Our defense was banged up. Our defense is not the defense, from before. So I just, it's just not worth it, taking it to overtime again, at home against the Chiefs. You got Patty Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Hopkins, who can make things happen. And that's exactly what they did. So it sucks. It really is. Honestly, there's a lot of reasons to be half empty or half, glass full. But I'll tell you this, those last two or last minute, really, that was just extremely disappointing. There was no reason to, be happy about, at least we, put up a good fight and we took it to overtime. What the hell with overtime?
Yeah, I feel you. It's an overtime loss is still a loss. Absolutely. I was trying not to start our show off on such a dark note, but I feel you. It's frustrating. It's not fun. It's not good to watch. If anything, playing that close of a game makes it even more maddening that they don't end up with a win. It's just infuriating. So, Mr. Blaine, how about you, man? You're kind of a off the beaten path kind of guy when it comes to these decisions. Maybe you disagree. What were your thoughts on the point after attempts?
I disagree 100%. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10, I'm going for it every time. You're giving the best quarterback in the NFL, maybe not this season, but overall, I think the best quarterback in the NFL, a chance to win the game in overtime without giving the best asset on your team, as in like our offense is better than our defense this year. So you're taking the risk of losing a game without giving your team a chance. When you could give your offense a chance at the end of regulation, if you lose, you're probably going to lose in overtime anyway. Like, the idea that Todd Bowles has, in my opinion, from looking at this, it appears that Todd Bowles has more faith in the defense than he does the offense, and that is just mind-blowing to me at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he cited the rain kind of making it weird with the offense and everything. I don't really know how much I buy that, to be quite honest. Or I don't even remember what context that quote was, but it was really weird decision making, for a guy that preached, pedal to the metal, we're playing to win every game with the whole Chris Godwin thing. This is just very much the antithesis of that. It's playing not to lose as opposed to playing to win, which, yeah, it's very frustrating. And like you said, showing more faith in a defensive side that, quite frankly, has struggled to slow down a lot of teams, to put it nicely. So it's just, it's very, very confusing. I'm with y'all. I would have gone for 2. I know a lot of the models sort of make it a 50-50 call, but it's similar to that third down or that decision to kick a field goal last week. But in my opinion, when it's that close, you err on the side of aggression. Otherwise, why are you in that position?
The part that got me the most was Bowles said something along the lines of like, well, we had our chances, and it's like, dude, you're just to me, it sounds like he just gave up. Because he's like, well, we had our chances. We had the opportunity. I'm like, yeah, you had the opportunity at the end of the game to win it. Win or lose, when he said that, I was instantly like, dude, if he's lucky I'm not the general manager or I'm not the owner, like, he would be gone. I am done with him. I've been done with him for a while, and this game just...
Well, even the timeout before they even got the touchdown was kind of stupid. Great point, well. Yeah. So it wasn't just that go for the 2 situation. It was back-to-back stupid decisions.
Yeah, because leaving that much time on the clock, let's say that they went for 2, and then the Kansas City comes out and they're super aggressive, pedal to the metal. Even if everything goes right in that situation, Kansas City still might win because, the mindset, the aggressive nature of the sport. We've seen Kansas City do crazy stuff all the time, get themselves into field goal range.
15 yards to get into field goal range.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Our defense stepped up in that moment. I don't know how. I'll give it to them. They stepped up in that moment, but they only needed 15 yards to win the game. 15 yards in 26 seconds, and I think they had all 3 timeouts.
Right. Yeah, and even I'd hate to take credit away from the defense because, they need every little bit of credit they can get, but Kansas City plays that way more aggressive if they're down a point. If they're playing with the game on the line, not just the chance to go to overtime, then they are playing that very differently than I think they did. Because I'm sure they were in the back of their minds. They're like, hey, Mahomes, I don't know if he leads the league in interceptions, but he's definitely up there. He is
He's
definitely
tied with Baker.
right. He's definitely not taking care of the ball very well. Rainy conditions, it's slippery, like weird stuff can happen. So, when a tie ball game you've got near the end of a game, if you're Kansas City, like you'd rather just take it to OT because then you get a 50-50 shot at a coin flip. Mahomes.
The best, the best way I see it is it's like a boxing match between a big favorite and an underdog. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And the way I see it is the underdog gets a real nice punch. Okay. Now you got the favorite shaking. You know what I'm saying? But instead of keep on attacking that favorite, aka go for two, they just sag off. The underdog says, no, it's fine. And then he backs up a little bit in this fight. And then boom, would you look at that? The favorites again back to 100%, and look what happens. He wins. And that's exactly what happened with the Chiefs.
Yeah, and I think Zach put it perfectly. Like I would trust the Bucs offense to convert a 2-point conversion more than I would trust the Bucs defense to hold up against a Patrick Mahomes led Kansas City offense. I mean, I know we've taken a dump on the Bucs defense and all year. They've been pretty rough, but I would take that deal for any team in the NFL. Like it's not just a Bucs defense thing. It's an any team in the NFL thing. Like that should be your line of thinking. If you're Buffalo,
maybe not the Panthers
more, even if you have a solid defense. Sorry, what'd you say, Zach?
I said maybe not the Panthers.
I mean, maybe if you're the Panthers and you're in that situation,
like 50-50.
I don't know. I still think you go for two if you're the Panthers because I
maybe
don't know. Their defense isn't much better than the Bucs, but yeah, no, I feel, but that's kind of my main point is that it's not even necessarily a diss on the Bucs defense. It's more just like, hey, you're playing against Patrick Mahomes, who also just got DeAndre Hopkins on his team. Like this sucks for the rest of the NFL. Like they're going to be really, really hard to beat. So if you have a chance to do so, don't leave it in his hands. Take advantage of it yourself. So yeah, I'm with y'all. It was full send, 10 out of 10. Disagree with that call. It was very frustrating, but like I said, there were some positives to take away from this game. Cade Otton, my goodness, what a guy. He has been fantastic so far this year. I mean, since Mike and Chris Godwin went down, he has just been one of the best tight ends in football. He's turned into like a must start in fantasy football. Who the heck saw that coming? It's been really impressive to watch him go to work. Is he becoming essential enough or good enough to warrant maybe contract extension talks this offseason? Because he's not, it's not an expiring deal this year, but he's going to be next season. So I don't know. I mean, is he kind of playing his way into getting paid, or what are your thoughts on this, Mr. Blaine? I'll start with you, man.
In my opinion, the growth we've seen from him this year, I would rather extend him now as opposed to a year later when he's going to be probably even better.
Absolutely.
Because I think he's developed the most out of anyone in our offense here recently, or not even necessarily recently, but over the last like 2 seasons, like the growth from him. We were talking about needing a tight end more than anything at the beginning of this season, and he has just produced and produced and produced. So I think he's earning a contract extension, and I would rather get it done now as opposed to in a contract year when he's probably going to be worth a lot more.
Yeah, and I mean, especially in the context of, hey, Chris Godwin's a free agent. He's may or may not be gone. He was great this year, so he's earned a big payday, and maybe the Bucs don't give it to him. Like maybe they do. I don't know, but I'm assuming Cade Otton makes significantly less money than Chris Godwin does in the free agent market. Just if both hit the free agent market this offseason. So I feel like the Bucs might be wise if he continues to play like this. If he continues to play well. Yeah, that's certainly a discussion that you have to have if you're Jason Light, in my opinion. But Mr. Tariq, maybe you're saying pump the brakes. Like this has only been a few games. Like he wasn't exactly tearing it up last season or the year before. So maybe you need to see more from Cade Otton. What are your thoughts on an extension for him?
I mean, I think, yeah, I'm open to the extension talk, and I'll tell you this, to be honest, I have never really kind of put any kind of focus into our tight end room ever since, especially when Cam Brate left. And I've always wondered, can any of these tight ends really kind of, make a difference? And finally, yeah, we're seeing that with Cade Otton. As Zach said, I mean, yeah, the way he's grown, and I mean, the way he stepped up to the plate, with Evans and Godwin out, that's big. So I'm nothing but happy with what I've seen, and that guy's also taken some hard hits. So I want to give him a shout out because,
yeah, Yeah, I mean, Baker's been playing great. He played great Monday night, but my goodness, he's been putting him in some tough situations. Oh, it's been brutal to watch. But at the same time, he's popped right back up and he's continued to rack up yardage and catches. And he had a touchdown catch again this past Monday. So he's been fantastic, even with all those big hits that he's been taking, like you said. But man, it's tough to think about this game in the context of hypotheticals because like Kate Otten had a great game and the offense wasn't bad, but man, I hate to think about if Mike and Chris Godwin or even if one of them were healthy. Do you think the Bucs win this game, Mr. Treek? I'll throw it right back at you, my man. What are your thoughts? Like if Mike and Chris Godwin or are healthy, what are your thoughts on the Bucs' chances to win this game?
Uh, I mean, I think they would help. The only thing is, I mean, as much as I love our offense and how beautiful it can be with Evans and Godwin, it's really just the defense. But I'll tell you this, perhaps, that 2-point conversion could have been a different story had we had Godwin and Evans. Now that could have been a little bit different, but I mean, yeah, it would definitely help, but I don't know if it would completely change the outcome.
Yeah, that's an excellent take because I don't know if it changes the calculus for Todd Bowles if you have your two, Pro Bowl caliber wide receivers out there, but it's certainly interesting because having Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are both super physical wide receivers. You run slant routes with them and just say, "Hey, just catch this damn ball." Use your body, out physical the corners. Like that's not a horrible proposition. That's pretty. That's a great take, Musab. I'd be really curious to see how that would have played out for sure. But Mr. Blaine, maybe you're more pessimistic than Musab and myself. Maybe you think it doesn't make a difference because the defense sucks, which would be in line, I think, with with how you've been speaking about. So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that we probably could have put up more than 24 points if we had Evans, Evans
Right.
and Godwin, or one or the other. Like if we had both, yeah, I think without a doubt, we have just Evans. I think that opens up more for Otten. Otten would have had a bigger night. I also want to give a shout out to Sterling Shepard. Like,
Yeah,
dude
he was
stepped
solid.
up. It,
Yep.
it's not only were we missing Evans and Godwin, but we're also missing McMillan. So that's our top three receivers. Like we're not, we just talk about the big names, but we're also down to our fourth, fifth, and sixth receivers at this point. So I think having any of them back would really help. And as far as does it change the 2-point conversion? No, I think Todd Bowles still tucks his tail between his legs and kicks a field goal. I have zero faith that man will ever do anything aggressive.
Man, fair enough. I respect it. I feel you. That's unfortunately that's probably what happens if we're being completely honest. So yeah, I feel you. It's definitely tough, but hey, it happens. But if you're looking for the anti Todd Bowles for your wardrobe, if you're looking for maybe the Liam Cohen, see, Mr. Tariq's got it. He's rocking it.
You
He
already
gets this
know.
up. He got the message. I don't even know, but that's just phenomenal. Good stuff, Musab. But if you're looking for that, definitely head to shop.rblrsports.com. We've got some great gear on there if you're looking to upgrade your wardrobe and just show your support to the Tampa Bay sports teams. We'll even give you a promo code Cannon CANNONS for 10% off your entire order. Definitely head there and check us out because we've got some great stuff on there for sure. And
Maybe you can go for 2.
that's ouch.
If you really like what you see, then you go for 2.
Oh man, that was that was tough. Oh man, I've heard some tough puns today. In baseball world, Scott Boras had his usual puntastic little press conference, and that was tough. That might have been the toughest one I've heard, but I like it. I like it. Definitely go for 2 for sure. But anyways, we're moving on, and before we get into the 49ers game, I wanted to talk sort of big picture because there's obviously Bowles is under a lot of heat this past week, and the week before he was also under a lot of heat because the defense has continued to not produce. So, big picture, if the Bucs miss the playoffs this year, do you potentially fire Todd Bowles and maybe promote Liam Cohen to head coach, or maybe you look externally? Zach, you'll probably be most enthusiastic about this. What are your thoughts on this?
I don't care if we make the playoffs on fire and Todd Bowles.
Oh, yikes. I don't know about that.
It won't happen. I am under the impression Todd Bowles has something. He's got some blackmail somewhere on someone, and he's just going to be there because, yes, we've made the playoffs, and it's been fun. But he has not been a good coach. Like, his clock management has been horrendous every season. We make the playoffs because we're in the NFC South. Well, now Atlanta's playing good football, and you see that we're doing the same thing we did last year. We had a really hot start, and then what did we lose 6 straight? So we're 1-5 right now. Like, that's pretty close to the same situation that happened last year. And I have no faith that Todd Bowles is the reason that we're going to win games. We have the 31st easiest schedule the next half of the season.
I think the second easiest schedule, but the 31st.
Sorry, 31st.
No,
yeah.
I got you.
If we we could win out after San Francisco, and I wouldn't be shocked.
Right.
But is that because of Todd Bowles? No, it's because we play trash teams. I don't think that it's a Todd Bowles thing if we do win out.
For sure, and I'm with you. You know, I don't know that there's really any team in the NFL that wins or loses really exclusively because their head coach. I mean, head coaches have a lot to do with things, you know, game plans and whatnot. But I don't know if the Bucs make the playoffs again. Like, this is a lot of years in a row that the Bucs have made the playoffs. If they do it again this year, it'd be hard to fire a guy like that. It'd be hard to say, hey, we know because this roster is really solid. It's a good team. Excuse me, they play in an awful division, but the Saints are in this awful division. The Panthers are in this awful division. Why haven't they made the playoffs over the past few years? You know, I mean, Dennis Allen just got fired, and I get that the Panthers, you know, they let go of, good gracious, Frank Reich, was that his name last year, the head coach? I think. Anyways, you know, they've let go of their coaches as well, but nothing's changed. You know, I mean, it's the Saints and the Panthers have been just as bad in the same division.
Yeah,
so.
they haven't had a team as good as ours.
For sure, but you know. Does removing Todd Bowles from the equation mean that Antoine Winfield Jr. doesn't become who he becomes? Like, there's just a lot of
I guess the way that I look at it is we have not necessarily gotten better every year that Bowles has been here. Like, yes, we've made the playoffs, but we've not seen growth. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. I think last year was a big step forward from the Brady, even the final Brady year. Like, I think last year was pretty overwhelming success, if we're being completely honest.
But I mean, what was our record last year?
Yeah, but they made it to the division championship game. They played it really close to the Detroit Lions,
a terrible Philly team in the playoffs. Like,
I guess, but
that team hadn't won in a while before they made the playoffs. So I guess I struggle to see how we can be like, he's made the playoffs, but we also talk about, like, you had kind of mentioned that it's not on the coach. They don't really have necessarily an outcome on the game. It's sort of those weren't your exact words.
No, I get what you're saying though. Yeah.
But our team's made the playoff 4 years in a row, so we shouldn't fire him.
Right. You know, no, I get what you're saying. Like, you're gonna assign credit to him, but not assign him the blame. I totally
exactly. Yeah.
I totally understand. But it's just, you know, it's not a. I don't know if change for change's sake is always good. You know, just making a change just to say you made a change. I don't know. I'm not really the biggest fan of that. So if they make the playoffs, it's going to be tough. But Mr. Tariq, how about you, man? Maybe you're like me, or maybe you're on Zach's side. What are your thoughts on Bowles' job security?
I mean, when it comes to job security, I mean, that's a separate thing. I just don't like the guy anymore at all. I mean, you know, he's just making these really, you know, stupid decisions. Now, I mean, from a kind of, you know, GM perspective, if I'm, you know, working in that office, you know, to be honest, I'll have to, you know, kind of still find more reasons to actually fire him. It's just that, you know, it's kind of just like, you know, it's like someone who can still, you know, get the job done, I guess, but that here and there they make these stupid decisions. And I just wish someone could just tell him to his face that, you know, maybe you need to kind of put some trust in others, I guess, maybe just not try to make it a one-man show. I have him on strike too, because what he did with the Falcons, and then this past game, I mean, this was embarrassing. So if we see it again, I mean, especially against the 49ers, because I'm not even focused on the second half of the schedule. I'm focused on this 49ers big time, because we really need these wins now more than anything. And you know, the thing that makes me actually optimistic about saying these things that, we need this win, is because we put up a really good fight against Kansas City. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like had we, you know, gone for 2 and won the game or something, we'd all be going into this 49ers game a lot different as well. thinking, okay, maybe we actually do have this. So that being said, I have to say also, I don't think it's a good idea putting Cohen. Regardless, if we get rid of Bowles, I think it'd be a possibility, I guess. But I mean, it's just we have to think about the kind of the things more in the kind of deeper end, which is the kind of the culture and how long someone like him, Todd Bowles, has been in the system. It's hard to kind of just replace that. This isn't like some kind of typical 9 to 5 cubicle job where your boss is just easily replacing you with just someone else. So yeah, it's right now, I guess I'm just on the fence right now. I'm definitely playing hardball with him, and I'm definitely thinking about his stupid decisions week by week. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of iffy right now.
I think the problem is if you don't put Cohen in there, if you fire Bowles and you don't put Cohen in, Cohen's gone in the next 2 years.
Yeah, that was
true. Yeah.
Unless this offense just like tanks at some point, Cohen's gone in the next 2 years unless we promote him to head coach. Because the NFL wants offensive-minded head coaches. I'd imagine probably 80% of the league has an offensive-minded head coach. So it's like, do you run the risk of, if you do fire him and you bring someone else in, I mean, one, I'm trying to think how to explain it again. You're bringing in someone new to the system completely, which is just as bad, as opposed to bringing in a new guy or bringing in a guy who's only been here for a year, but he's been in here a year, which is longer than someone else from the outside. You know what I mean?
Right. But see, this is an argument that I'd make for keeping Bowles regardless of what happens, because then give him another year. Maybe things work out, maybe things don't. But if things don't work out, then you've got another year to see what Liam Cohen can do as an offensive coordinator. And you're getting Liam Cohen more familiar with the playbook, more familiar with the players, ownership, etc. And then you fire Bowles, and then you're like, hey, Liam Cohen, you're our new head coach. You know what I mean? I think that'd be I get it's a wasted year
of this defense, though.
I feel you. I do understand. And if the Glazers were more apt to, or if Jason Light, the Glazers, whoever's making these types of decisions, if they had more of a historical sort of leaning to do these sorts of things, I would love to see them try to fire him mid-season if things aren't going well next year. You know what I mean? So I do get what you're saying for sure. Because 2 seasons is a long time. I definitely feel you. Like 2 seasons is a lot of football, and it's a wasted Baker Mayfield year potentially because he's on a relatively friendly contract, especially compared to the rest of the NFL quarterbacks. And it's another wasted Mike Evans year. So I totally understand how frustrating it would be, but at the same time, you don't want to overplay your cards because Liam Cohen, like Zach said, just got here. Like this is his first year. Promoting him to head coach would just be really, really quick turnaround. And the Panthers did that with Dave Canales, but do we really want the Bucs to be the Panthers? Do we really want to compare those two teams? I don't know. So it's a tough discussion for sure. It's definitely not an easy solve for sure. I can kind of see both sides of the argument, but we'll move on to the 49ers week. Christian McCaffrey has been activated. Well, excuse me, not activated. He's been allowed to practice, which gives him 3 weeks to activate him, I think. Please don't quote me on that. I think that's how the injured reserve rules work. So we could be seeing potentially Christian McCaffrey playing his first down of NFL football this season. And of course it becomes against the Bucs. So I don't know, how big of a factor does Christian McCaffrey play into your mind? How big of a factor does he play into it? Because if he does play, he's probably going to be on a snap count. Like they're not going to go full throttle with him. But at the same time, like the 49ers, they're kind of bleeding right now. They're not exactly playing great football. They're going to need Christian McCaffrey to help them win this game. So how much does McCaffrey play into how you evaluate this game going into the weekend? Mr. Blaine, I'll start with you, man. What are your thoughts on Christian McCaffrey?
I mean, Christian McCaffrey is a difference maker. I think even if it's 15 snaps that he's able to run the ball, like he's a difference maker, and I mean, even with that being said, Mason, their backup running back, he's had a solid season. So do I think he's a difference maker? Like whether they win or lose the game, I don't think so. I think that they have enough without him to win or lose the game the same as with him.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a fair point. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I think whether he plays or not probably doesn't have a severe bearing on the outcome of the game, but it's definitely something interesting to monitor because I have him on one of my fantasy teams, unfortunately. But
I drafted him first overall in the RBLR league, so I get it.
yeah, it sucks, man. It's tough. Mr. Treek, how about you, my man? Does Christian McCaffrey playing or not playing have a big impact on the outcome of this game, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think so for sure. I think he's definitely a game changer for sure. And I'm curious to see exactly, how many reps he actually gets in. And I do want to chime in that the whole 21-day practice window, it does mean that he has 3 weeks to prove that he's ready to be activated from IR to the 53-man roster. So I think believe you were right about that. But
Not very.
I don't know. We'll just have to. I don't know. This sounds cliche. We're just going to do our best. Obviously it's a big worry. Hell, the other Niners running backs, Mason and Isaac Guerrero, have been putting in work too. So I mean,
Absolutely.
it's
Isaac
call it a three-headed.
Mason is fourth in the league in rushing yards.
Yeah, they're up
Yeah.
there. Those Shanahan offenses, man, they could plug one of us back there at running back, and they'll probably run for 100 yards a game. It's crazy how that works. It's going to be tough because Christian McCaffrey is obviously no normal running back, and he's really, honestly, at this point, he would probably become more of a wide receiver just because Brandon Ayuk's out. They have all those ridiculous playmakers, all those ridiculous weapons. So it'd be interesting to see how it plays out, especially with Jordan Mason as well and Isaac as well. So that'd be really fascinating if he does potentially play. But we'll definitely have to keep an eye on that. We're trying to be positive. I know it's been a negative episode so far because the Bucs lost again. But are there any good matchups that you look at for the Bucs going into this weekend? Maybe some things that you're looking at and you're like, hey, that could go the Bucs' way. Mr. Blaine, I'll start with you, man. What are some good matchups for the Bucs against the 49ers this weekend?
I mean, it's a rough one, man.
Yeah.
It does not look great. They've still got playmakers on defense, so it's one of those things where I think our wide receivers against their corners, I feel kind of confident, even with us missing a few of them. But maybe our Vea against their O-line, like Vea's been tearing it up. So
yeah, Vea and Cansey for that matter, they've both been really outstanding. That was one of the ones that came to my mind because their interior offensive line isn't wonderful. Like they have Trent Williams, one of the best left tackles in football, absolutely full send, but it can get real thin when you look at the rest of that San Francisco offensive line. That was kind of one of my thoughts for sure. But Mr. Treek, how about you, man? What are some other potentially good matchups for the Bucs in your mind?
Oh man, yeah, this is tough. I mean, for the Bucs, I don't know. I kind of feel the same way, like we did last week against the Chiefs. I don't know if we really have any big favorable matchups. I mean, but I do want to say, I want to give a big shout out to Liam Cohen just for making things happen with, the guys we do have. I mean, no Evans, no Godwin. You have guys like Raheem Jarrett and Ryan Miller making things happen along with Sterling Shepard. So for that reason, that's why I say I'm looking forward to is seeing, what Liam Cohen cooks up, for our offense. And I don't know. I'm just hoping the best for our offensive line to protect Baker because, they got Nick Bose out there and I'll leave it at that.
Yep, that's all there is to say really with him. It's going to be tough, that we'll have to see how they're able to hold up. Baker has been really nice about escaping the pocket, getting some yards scrambling. You could say maybe he's gotten a little bit of happy feet in some instances, but at the same time, it's nice to know that you have that sort of in your back pocket with, the 49ers having a really good defensive line. They've got a pretty solid pass rush, but I love the Liam Cohen shout out. Obviously, we talked about him potentially being head coach, so obviously he's doing something right. Against that San Francisco defense, he could get kind of creative. He could give him a taste of the kind of the Shanahan / Sean McVay medicine, because he runs a super creative playbook, really fun game plan. So that's going to be something to monitor for sure. But we're nearing the end of our episode. But before we do, I've got the over-under segment as well as some predictions, and I'm doing the over-unders this week. So I'll give us some pretty standard ones, nothing too crazy. I'll start with the point total. 48.5 is the money line for total points scored between these two teams. Over under. Give it to me, Mr. Tariq. What you got?
Oof, I'm gonna go over. I
Ooh,
think I think our offense will fire on all cylinders like they did against Kansas City, and I mean the Niners, they got weapons, so it should be a I guess fairly high scoring game, or definitely definitely over.
definitely over. All right, I'm gonna go under, but only slightly. Not super confident. I mean, there's a reason they set these money lines where they do. It's a tough call, but I'm gonna go under. I think that both of these teams kind of on paper appear like they're going to be high scoring. So it'd be just like the NFL for them to come out and just have like a little bit of a down game offensively, and for both defenses to show out, quote unquote, like that just be right in line with how things go in the NFL, because it's just weird and random and stupid. So I'm going to go with the under. But how about you, Mr. Blaine? What are your thoughts on the over under for this point total?
I got the over. I think that our defense will give them as many points as they would like, and, and
Fair enough.
I think our offense will also put up a good amount of points. So I got the over this week.
Fair enough. All right, to round out this segment, I've got a Cade Otton receiving touchdown. I'm just setting it 0.5. I think he gets one. He's just been on a roll lately. I know that 49ers have Fred Warner, who's one of the best linebackers in football. He's outstanding. But I think Otton's able to sneak one in there because, the Bucs are going to score some too. That offense is pretty darn good as well. As much as the San Francisco 49ers have, Brock Purdy and Deebo Samuel and all those guys. I think Cade Otton sneaks in there with a receiving touchdown. Mr. Blaine, how about you, man? You think Otton gets him one this week?
Yeah, I mean, Otton's wide receiver 1 at this point. So,
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it.
Low key, yeah.
if he doesn't score, this offense is not going to put up big numbers. So
Ooh, wow, okay.
I do think that he gets at least one.
All right, that's a big contingency. I might hold you to that if Cade Otton doesn't score a touchdown and the Bucs still have a big offensive night or day. Excuse me, Mr. Streak. How about you, man? You think Cade Otton gets a receiving touchdown this weekend?
Yeah, I think so for sure. I mean, there's no reason why he cannot or he won't. We need him. He's been stepping it up to the plate, when our guys have been out. So, and plus, yeah, our offense has been cooking it up. So, hell yeah.
All right, hell yeah! Wow, I like it. I like the enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Love the confidence. Yeah, we're all in agreement. If Cade Otton, so now Cade Otton's not going to score a single touchdown. He'll end up with
100%. Now we just jinxed it. He's
Yeah.
gonna have
What's
12 yards.
anyway? Yeah, whatever the in any time touchdown is.
Avoid it. Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, but yeah, you never know with these things. Maybe we're oracles. Maybe we're prophets. Maybe the football gods are looking kindly upon us, and Cade Otton will haul in a touchdown. Who knows? But we'll round out this episode with predictions, because I can't have a good football preview without some predictions. So I'll start us off. I've got San Francisco winning 23-20. I think the Bucs fall to 4-6. It's just, it is what it is. That's how it be sometimes. All the cliches. So I don't think they've got enough in the tank to keep up with San Francisco's offense. San Francisco's got a pretty good one, and I think they'll be able to sneak out with a road victory. The 49ers will. So I got San Francisco 23-20. Mr. Blaine, how about you, man? What's your final score and who you got winning?
I got San Francisco winning 34-24.
Wow, big score. All right, I don't doubt it. That could very well happen. Mr. Treek, how about you, man? What's your prediction? Who you got winning?
Y'all might have to doubt this one. I'm actually going 27-23 Buccaneers. I think, I'll tell you this. I've been thinking about it a lot. And, you read all these things online talking about, the Bucs, the Niners last 5 games got these many points, whatever. The hell with all the things in the past. You know what I'm saying? It's a new week, and I think we have potential for sure. So that's why I'm going 27-23. I just feel like I don't think our defense is going to really save us. I just think that somehow, or hopefully, I'll tell you this, the really big difference, the only reason we're going to be able to keep these guys down to 23 is if we lock down George Kittle, because these tight ends have been feasting on us these last couple of Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce, Kyle Pitts. And could Kittle be the next one? Hopefully not. So that's why I'm going 27-23. If the football gods give Todd Bowles some common sense and tell him, dear Todd, stop being such an idiot, and dear Todd, you got to work on, closing those gaps, then I think we definitely have potential and definitely have a reason or the capability of winning this game. So 27-23 Buccaneers.
Heck yeah, I love it. All right, go, Mr. Tariq putting his foot down. He thinks the Bucs are going to win. I love it. Hopefully, we're coming back at you next week, and Mr. Tariq is right. That would be a fantastic show. That'd be a lively episode. But regardless, we'll have some really great content coming at you. It might be lively in just a different way. So definitely tune in, hit that like and subscribe button if you like what you heard, and also give us a follow at RBLR Bucs or at RBLR Sports. We've got really amazing content across the channel for sure. So definitely check us out there. Keep you up to date with when our new content is coming out. All right. So we'll see you next week regardless, even if the Bucs win or lose. But until then, go Bucs.
Go Bucs.
Go Bucs.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.